Hey everyone, it's time for a market update, and this one will be quite exciting and probably quite long because I want to go through some very interesting out charts that I'm seeing. But before we do this, obviously we need to start with the daddy because this has been Bitcoin driven market, and last week you can see here we closed at around 10% gains, which was quite significant, and this was pretty much on the fake news that the ETF is approved. And after that, if you see the daily, the market decided that, okay, maybe it's not so fake. So we just consolidated for a few days above this support level that just turned support. And then we are currently running up to the top of this range around 31k, currently getting a bit of a rejection, which is totally normal. As you can see, we have only green days pretty much for the past couple of weeks. I did enter into a position here. I actually added to my existing position, so my cost average is somewhere around 28k, maybe a little bit below that. And I'm planning to keep this, and actually I think the highest probability right now would be to have a retracement somewhere in this area. And the big question will be, where we gonna get another fake out like we did right here and potentially retrace back to the mid-range, or we're gonna have a complete capitulation and retracement of the move. I don't know which one, to be honest, is gonna play out, but I am prepared for all kinds of scenarios that are coming up. I'm definitely turning more and more bullish as I'm seeing this price action, and I think even if we get a retracement, probably the highest probability area would be somewhere around here, if of course this is the top of this rally, around this area, around 28k. So where was my initial entry? And if we hold this level, so if we see on the lower time frames, something like this, and not signs that we're going to break this support level, definitely I'll probably be adding to my backs, and then expecting higher prices, because we've pretty much had higher highs, higher lows here through this last couple of months. Yeah, we had this breakdown here that we talked a couple of weeks ago about, and things looked a lot more bearish down here, but as you can see, price been very, very strong, which is extremely good to see, and honestly makes me very happy and gets me quite excited overall about the state of crypto and the potential of another bull run. So this is the base case that I have. The more optimistic case is that we continue the rip, because this has been kind of a disbelief rally. And as you can see here, after we break potentially 32k, there's not much in the space between there and what is that, around 35, 36k. So from the breakout here, it's another 16% that we're looking at in potential gains. And since not many people believe this could happen, just the same way that not many people believed that the fake news will drive the market even higher, I think that a lot of people could be shorting here in advance without seeing some kind of reactions or enough reactions here, and potentially being off guard. And the more green we see, the more people will be like, oh no, I'm missing the move, so I want to be into it. So this could escalate very quickly, and the market could definitely get overheated. But I wouldn't be mad at this. I do have plenty of exposure. That's why I wanted to add around 28k, because I was feeling like I will feel FOMO if I didn't add at that point. Turned out to be a good decision. And if we see something like this and we really get overextended to the upside, the next level I'll be looking for to hold is somewhere around here. So we need to turn this level back into support in order for me to say, okay, officially maybe we are starting a bull trend. When would that be? Probably, it could take a while. So this could, even if we have this kind of move, we could take quite a few months to retrace and quite a few months of boring price action, just like this. After a big move, you see we also had a big retracement, and it was, if you remember, this was really painful. Like not much was happening on the charts. So definitely if this plays out, it will give me a lot more confidence, and especially if this is before the ETF news, that would make the markets look good. Right now, the only thing that is a major concern for me is stocks and generally what's going to happen with the S&P and with the overall economy. You know what kind of situation we are in. And you can see here for the past several weeks, we've been into lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows. Yes, sorry about this. And you can see that the S&P has been just going down, and we have to see where the bottom is. Definitely, I can see a case where we chop around in this area. Maybe we tag this support level and we chop around. But if we get a capitulation event, like a credit event, or something breaks, I think that could potentially also be a buying opportunity of a lifetime for crypto. If we take a look at Ethereum, it has been lagging definitely, and the chart definitely looks a lot more bearish. And here on the weekly, you can see compared to Bitcoin, we're still under the 200 weekly moving average. Wow, on Bitcoin, we just broke and blasted through it. So Ethereum is definitely lagging, but that's normal. The narrative is Bitcoin driven. So definitely whatever I say about altcoins here will be with a grain of salt, but we definitely see some action. And I think that Ethereum will start playing catch up, because even the ETH BTC ratio looked like it had a bit of a capitulation here. You can see we're still red. This is like 4 consecutive weeks of red on top of a already a downtrend. But I think this area around here, around 0.05 to 0.04 maybe, is definitely an area where we could start bouncing, especially if Bitcoin keeps this kind of price action, and especially if it starts consolidating somewhere in these areas. I think Ethereum and altcoins will play catch up. Concerning my positions, I still hold all of them pretty much. GMX still deeply underwater, still lower highs, lower lows on the structure, but this is a level that I'm looking for around 44 bucks, maybe potentially to add some more exposure and lower my cost average. But long term, I still think this is a relatively good play. Matic has been showing some strength on the daily. It's a little bit better to see it. It had some kind of a consolidation here and quite a few green days. It's actually been showing quite a lot of strength here, around 22% up compared to some other outs which are like 5 to 10% up. But again, I'm cautiously optimistic with all the altcoins. I see some breakouts I'm going to show you in a bit, but I would prefer to see something like this, because we do have PTSD from all the failed breakouts that we had. And if I see something like this, okay, maybe I'll add a bit more to my Matic exposure. Magic is also at an interesting level. Maybe this is a double bottom, we'll see, but I wanted to break this horizontal diagonal actually trend line, and then maybe I'll be adding a bit more again to lower my cost average. STG, same, it's in the middle of nowhere, so I'm just waiting a little bit more for some signs of a little bit strength before adding to this position, because this could still get ugly, and I could still be able to buy at better prices from here. So if we touch this support level, it's still around 18% down. So these are the majors that I'm looking into. There's been quite a few altcoins that have shown strength, and the most significant, I would say, is Solana. I did a video about it, and fundamentally things don't look that great, but as you can see on the chart, it's pretty much picture perfect. We are having a breakout. A few weeks ago, we did have a failed breakout here around the $30 mark. I haven't bought any Solana, but definitely I'm keeping it on watch, because it's one of the stronger performing assets. Although there's thought about unlocking the FTX reserves and so on, so on, so on, you can just see the chart that it just looks pretty. And that makes me excited overall about altcoins, because usually what happens when you see such kind of price action, you have obviously Bitcoin moves first, then maybe Ethereum, and then you have some altcoins that usually are the first to pop, like in this example, Solana, a few others that we're going to look at. And what happens after that is that they kind of give you a sense of what is it to come. And you can have a little bit more confidence when you're looking for other setups on other outs that still haven't done this part. So maybe they're somewhere around here. They're showing some strength of bullishness. They're at a bottom of a range or something. And then maybe you decide to have an early entry in anticipation of a potential leg up. Of course, if the risk to reward makes sense. And on charts like this, what I would like to do is just be patient, and just wait. Hopefully, maybe we get a continuation. First, some kind of a consolidation. So I don't want to see this breaking down back and filling all the gap here that we've created on the weekly. But if we get something like this and maybe, consolidation, even at this, resistance level turn support, if we get something like this, then maybe on a secondary setup, this could be stronger. Not saying I'm gonna buy this, but something like this, if you're into Solana, would be a good indicator of strength. However, looking at the trend, honestly, even if we retrace to these levels, somewhere around 23, 24 bucks, I think it could be still a good opportunity to buy. Link is being another one of those. It's been very strong, honestly. I heard there's some fundamental news and it's been pumping like crazy, and it's been in this range forever. It's been very clean range actually, and currently, as you can see, we have broken out. Even on the daily, you can see just a couple of massive candles. We had an early breakout here. I was looking at this, but then I was like, maybe the risk to reward doesn't make that much sense because it was around 10% risk to make around 20% gains on the top of the range, but then this just overshot it and completely dwarfed all the price action. Good to see overall for the market. I'm not sure that this is good for Link in the short term, because again, as Solana, I think this is getting overheated. And it will be great to see some consolidation above, ideally above this range, because this would be like one of the first, if not the first, cleanest range accumulation breakout that we've seen in years already. So that's why I'm excited. If this is the first and the signal of what is to come, I'll show you a few charts that you're probably gonna get excited about if they do something like this. BCH is another one that I'm looking, again, a lot of strength on the charts, and on the daily, pretty much looking for this level to break out. So this is around 250, around emotional number, and as you can see, we've been coiling up and the setup is kind of starting to look clean. What I don't like so much is the risk here. The risk here is around 20%, I would say, but then the local top is quite close, I would say. Yeah, you can overshoot it by a lot if things get overheated. But again, this is not my favorite setup, but I'm putting it out there just for you guys if you decide to, take a stab at BCH. Injective is one, again, that has been going nuts pretty much. Look at this chart. Like, there's no retracement whatsoever. It's been outperforming even Bitcoin. This is 36% up currently, and at some point it was like 40% up from these lows here. And once it had a breakout, it just never looked back. So again, what I would like to see here is some kind of consolidation or retracement. We are at the local high here. This is far from the all-time high, as you can see on the weekly. But again, this is a local high. It's an important area. Maybe it will turn into a bit more like price action here, consolidation, and potentially an even bigger triangle to break out of. But definitely like to see this move. But again, it's getting a little bit overextended in my opinion. Maker is another one that has been showing very much strength. And here, just really clean price action, just higher highs, higher lows, respecting the levels of support and resistance. This hasn't always been the case with a lot of the tokens in the last couple of years. So nice to start seeing this on the charts. And you can even make the case that you could long this on any retracement, because what we had here, as you can see, let me just pull my... So we had a high, then we retraced, then we had a lower high, we held this level around 1,440, then we had a retracement, but again, support held in this case. This was a higher low compared to this one, and now we've broken out of this, and now we have again a shift in structure in a very short period of time and a higher high. And potentially, if we get something like this, like a small retracement, maybe the risk to reward to make sense for another breakout potentially to this. So let me just double check. So really, this is your risk. So 6% to make around 20%, so around 3R, which in my opinion is not a bad trade, honestly. Next one on the list is Rune again. Just look at this price. Actually, I love seeing this. So it's again at resistance this time, but really close to the local high. And I just want to see it consolidating because we broke market structure here. And I really thought this would be a short, and I could still see this playing out as a short. If we react somewhere in this area, you know, and maybe we fail to break it and then confirm it back again, this could be a nice short counter trade if Bitcoin decides to move back lower. So just keep this in mind. That's why I have it here, because technically speaking, it has done a lower high here, a lower low, sorry, and then maybe potentially get a lower high after this massive move. But when you see such kind of green candles, you know, I don't want to be a bear in this type of environment. You know, we're switching, and I think in the coming months, a lot of bears will get burned really badly. And that's why I'm just putting out there. The last one that is showing strength, and that's been for a while, is Kaspa. I'm gonna be, you've probably seen my video already on Kaspa. If you haven't, just go check it out. It's a really interesting project, and I think it has a lot of potential, but it's at an all-time high, and potentially this could break out significantly. But compared to the other charts, again, maybe this is not exactly my favorite right now because of the exchange diversification, and I think it's getting a little bit ahead of itself. But let's see, definitely one to watch. And yeah, these are pretty much the charts that I've selected that have a lot of strength. And now I want to jump into some charts that potentially, as we discussed, maybe they will play out. So let's start with Dogecoin. And Dogecoin again, just pumping without a retracement. Come on. So let me just give you the bigger picture on Dogecoin here. So pretty much this has been the low of the cycle. So back in June 2022, we tagged it. This was the capitulation. And then we've kept this level, you know, around 0.05. And now we're pretty much breaking out of this price action, and we're starting to shift the structure back into bullish. And if we get any retracement on Dogecoin, this is usually, you know, a market favorite coin. Especially when it comes to altcoins, this is one of the first that people would like to be in. So if we get any kind of retracement, as I've marked here, and I've left this so I don't forget it, you know, when I'm going through the charts, I think that would be a good looking long, because the risk to reward here is not that terrible. You know, if we get even this kind of entry, which is, you know, not great. If we have stops just below this level, again, even to this high, the next local high, it's like 3.3R, and then to the top of the range, it's like, you know, 5R pretty much. So just keep Doge in mind. I don't think it's a bad setup. And same goes with Pepe. If we're on the team of meme coin, you can see that again, this has been a significant resistance for now at 0.8, whatever the price is. And this could be turning into a bit of a range, and any deviations below and potentially attack in a, you know, something like this. Potentially a breakout like this, I think could be a very good setup. XRP is looking kind of similar after its retracement, now stabilizing between this level, so 46 cents and 54 cents. So pretty much a breakout could be a good play here. Vulcan Force is an interesting one. I definitely missed this one. I was looking at it before it started to run, so somewhere around here, around 2.8 bucks. But I wasn't at home and couldn't transfer funds to, you know, fund the account that I wanted to buy it, because this is not on all kinds of exchanges. And some exchanges, like for example Coinbase, has it, which is great, but they don't have a lot of liquidity there. So I wasn't able, this was on a Sunday, wasn't able to buy. Pretty much I was looking at this retracement here. This was red on the day before it pumped like crazy and closed like 8% green. So I'm not sure this will retrace that much, but again, a perfect play here. As you can see, massive range, 4 months, pretty much since May, more than a year actually, this range, and now just tagged it. Depending on where you draw the line, obviously you can take this also as a, you know, a bit of a deviation. but just tagged it and just skyrocketed from there. And let's see if this will play out, because I'm a bit, I'm a bit bumped about this, that I couldn't catch it. AJAX is another one. It reclaimed this little range here, and I think any move above this 20 cents level could be a very good setup. Aave is one that's been again on my radar, but just ran away really quickly. This is a pattern, that just broke out of this diagonal line, and it's been showing strength. Like here you can see that it's been like, shifting market structure, and this was the key level I was looking at, because it's a major level since again May of 2022, and I think we'll get a retracement depending obviously how it will look at that moment, but anything in here could be a relatively good long, because here the risk to this pivot will be around 16%. Okay, maybe a little bit steeper than what people might look like, but again, keep in mind this is just another shitcoin. Aptos is another one that's been showing strength. Again, very similar attacked support here. It was in a brutal downtrend ever since it pumped, and now first signs of life, and I think any retracement here is not a terrible entry. The last couple that I want to show you is probably everyone's most hated crypto, which is WorldCoin. This one with that scans your retina and so on, but because it's the most hated coin, I think it has the highest potential to liquidate shorts. So just keep this in mind. We don't have that much price history, but I would say this kind of a cup and handle here that we see, but pretty much, just higher highs, higher lows. And it's been rounding up here. So we can see the shift here in the lows, and potentially this again could be setting up for an interesting play, because this is a new token, keep in mind, and they don't have that much price history and pretty much back holders. They have a lot of locked supply that probably will get dumped at some point, but just keep this in mind. It's not a terrible play here, I think. Another one and the last one is called Canto. This is one that I need to look into fundamentally. It's an interesting coin. I was looking at this at the lows, but the market environment didn't feel right for this type of buy. But keep in mind, even at these prices, this is like $100 million token. So I'm keeping it on watch. It's been consolidating. Now it broke out. Looks very good, honestly. And if we have some kind of a retracement, this price action, maybe, retest these levels here. That's 30% for a really smaller project, and then 56% to this first level, and then to the all-time high. I think it doesn't take that much capital to move this, potentially another 200%. I can see this easily, especially with the right type of environment. But I'm not, in a rush to jump. As you can see, there are plenty of setups shaping up. So, I think it's the best time to pretty much be on top of your game, look into the charts every day and just focus and practice what kind of signals you take, what kind of trades you get in, and just be prepared, because the moment will come that there will be a lot of opportunities and you need to choose which one you want to jump in. You obviously cannot go wrong by just buying Bitcoin, which I've pretty much done for now. I haven't really jumped into any of these positions that we discussed. But I think at some point Bitcoin will cool off and potentially altcoins will start popping in much more excess than Bitcoin. But let's see. Maybe we just go to zero. That's everything for this video, guys. And if you have any questions, you know how to find me.